How important is it to change the face of African conservation when it comes to US policy? A lot, it seems. Our perspective is key to making it a success. At the same time, African Wildlife Foundation says anti-poaching and anti-trafficking programs continue as trafficking of illegal wildlife products remains a significant threat to global health, security and prosperity. To discuss this more, I'm joined via Skype by African Wildlife Foundation's Director of External Affairs, Edwin Tambara. Very good morning to you, Edwin. Good to have you with us on the show. Let's tackle, we've got two issues here. We've got poaching and we've got US policy when it comes to Africa. Let's focus on that first. How important is our input when it comes to US environmental policy?
Thank you. Very important. As you know, the US is quite influential in how we do conservation in Africa, from a policy perspective, but also funding perspective. So it is important for African perspectives to be to inform how US shapes its policies in order for us to have in place decisions that advance conservation on the continent. At the end of the day, you do not want policies that end up hurting the very same wildlife that we want to conserve, or hurting the local communities that live with this wildlife. So we push to ensure that these policies are informed by what's happening on the ground, by the experiences that people who live with the wildlife are sharing with us.
All right, the End Wildlife Trafficking Act of 2016 is set to expire this year. What are you going to do to make sure that it gets resuscitated, and what extra information do you need to add there?
It's been a significant mechanism that the US has used to support combating wildlife trafficking in Africa, and us and other partners have benefited a lot from the resources generated by this policy. So we are also supporting its reauthorization by sharing the impact that has come out of this past 4 years, what we have seen in terms of combating illegal wildlife trafficking on the continent, working with African governments to strengthen interception of illegal wildlife contraband within some of the major trafficking hubs on the continent, but also strengthening the boots on the ground, supporting rangers with the right equipment, patrol rations to ensure that we minimize the possibility of poachers killing wildlife. So those are some of the things that we are sharing with legislators, so that we do not lose the gains that have been made in the past 4 years. We continue to press on so that wildlife can be in a safer position.
And Edwin, how important is it to get the buy-in from African youth? Often wildlife is seen as something that Westerners come over and enjoy, but obviously it's a whole lot more than that. How important is their role?
That's a very critical issue and a very important question. As you have mentioned, the conservation sector has been seen as a purview for the Westerners. So it is important for us to cultivate the importance of conservation to the population of Africa, but also to open up opportunities for African youth within this sector, whether it's job opportunities or business opportunities. It's important for us to make sure that we position conservation as a growth sector on the continent. Conservation represents an opportunity for Africa. As Africa looks to develop, it represents an opportunity to create jobs, to create income, and contribute to national economies. And really that represents a substantial piece of the economy which can help in providing for this youth bulge that we have in Africa.
And Edwin, just briefly, if you will, I mean, it's not just poaching that's proving a problem across the world, but the silent threats that we're seeing in Africa, habitat loss, fragmentation of the natural ecosystems. Tell us a little bit more about that.
you have hit the nail on the head. Poaching has just been sort of one of the critical threats that's out there. But importantly, as populations are increasing, as demand for food is increasing, as countries are developing infrastructure, if it's not planned in a manner which takes into account environmental impact, it ends up impacting on wildlife habitat. And so we are seeing in many places where agricultural encroachment is going into wildlife habitat areas and compromising ecosystem integrity and provision of ecosystem services that are critical for human well-being. So definitely these are the threats critical to how wildlife will survive on the continent.
Okay, Edwin Tambara, very good to talk to you. Thank you.